There comes a time when we heed a certain call, when the world must come together as one. And today we're going to come together and announce a new direction for the podcast going forward. What's Cookin', episode 28. Take a listen.
Here we go.
Is cooking, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Episode 28, another Wednesday, and we are here live in the What's Cooking studios. This episode is going to be very different from all the others. Usually I have a whole page of notes typed up, and I come in with my homework done, and my work has been prepared for me. All I have to do is just rattle off some of the topics that I have put together. But not today, guys. Today, we are just letting it rip right off the top of the dome. We are just airing it out, going for the Hail Mary. No notes, no nothing. Today, I would like to announce a different podcast upload schedule than what you have all gotten used to over the months. You know, uploading every week is a great experience. It's something that makes you constantly search for information. It makes you constantly think and keeps yourself locked in. You know, you gotta perform. You know, there's no weeks off except that one time I got sick. The people are expecting me to deliver, and I feel like I have been consistently delivering some thoughts and opinions and explanations of some of the favorite topics, some of my favorite hobbies and interests and stuff that I know and that I'm comfortable speaking on. And when I first thought about creating this podcast, I went into it with some ideas. I could do an episode on this. I could talk about this. I could probably do a couple episodes on something like that, or one of these things, you know, a couple prepared points. But I feel like I had checked every box off the list, and I had blown away all the topics that I thought I could present on. I think that most of my things that I wanted to get across have been delivered at this point. And the weekly uploading of this podcast is going to come to an end. We are no longer going to be no matter what uploading a Wednesday episode. Instead, going forward, it's going to be if I have a guest that's agreed to join, I will upload whenever that guest comes and sits down with me and record an episode, and we will get that out to you whenever that happens. Or if there is some absolutely vital breaking news information on something I'm interested in, like if a enormous sports story breaks out, or technology, finance, video games, something absolutely huge, I'll jump on the mic. I will jump in the studio and crank out an episode and give you my thoughts. But it's just going to be more sporadic. It's just going to be more ad hoc, if that's the right way to use that. I've seen that used so many times, and I've never actually used the words ad hoc, and I'm really curious if I got that right or if I absolutely screwed it up. I'm going to have to look up ad hoc after this. But anyways, it's going to be a more unpredictable upload schedule. You know, it's just whenever things come together and a situation arises that calls for an episode, it will be delivered at that point. And let me take you through my decision-making process for why it's going to be like this going forward. I don't know if you guys are familiar with what it takes to create a podcast, but I'll let you know how I usually go about it on any given week here. I have the weekend to think about what I'm going to talk about. So Saturday, Sunday, I have a few ideas bouncing around in my head, and I think about the subcategories I could go into for that topic, and would it make for an entertaining episode? Could I crank out a good 40, 50 minutes on that specific topic? And that takes up a good chunk of my weekend, just even pondering these ideas. Then Sunday night rolls around, and it's time for me to start putting a plan into action. So I'll try to decide on what topic I'm doing, at least by Sunday, maybe sometimes Monday if I really want to risk it. And at this point, we got to start accumulating some notes, start breaking it off into sections. What am I going to start with? What am I going to transition to? What am I going to end with? And that takes a good chunk of time, Sunday night or Monday after work, get home, crank out some notes. Usually I have the notes ready to go by Monday, and then after I get home from work Monday, I jump right into the What's Cooking studio. I turn on the mic and I start talking based on the notes that I've put together over the weekend, and that takes up maybe an hour of my Monday night. And then Tuesday comes around. Tuesday is the day that I like to put together the What's Cooking part of the podcast. So I'll look at, on the internet, different articles that are going around technology, finance, and video games. Believe it or not, I never have to look up any articles about sports because just being a huge sports fan like I am, I just know what the big stories are and what the topics are. But for tech, finance, video games, I have to do a little more digging for that. And so that's usually Tuesday when I get home from work, typing up those notes. And then Tuesday after I type up those notes, jump in the studio, record the What's Cooking part. And then after I do that Tuesday night, record the What's Cooking part, then I have to upload the audio files up to my computer. And then since the recording software I use works best with WAV audio files instead of MP4s, I have to go on and take these uploaded audio files and convert them over to WAV files, put them into the audio editing software that I use, attach the intro, attach the outro, add in any snippets that I might have referred to in the episode, and then export that. Once that's exported, I have to type up the time markers for each episode. So I go through and listen to my own episode, take notes of what time in the episode I talked about each topic. And then once that's all compiled, I go open the little program I use to create the video files for YouTube, and I toss the audio in there, and I toss the little image that I use for the YouTube videos, and I let that kind of render. And while that's rendering, I'm uploading the audio files to Anchor, which distributes them to Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And usually I try to squeak in a dinner somewhere along that process. The Tuesday nights are pretty busy for me due to all the moving pieces there. But while the video's rendering and the audio's uploading and the time markers are completed, I'll sneak in a little dinner. And then after that, upload the video to YouTube with the time markers in the description, upload the podcast to Anchor with the time markers in the description, schedule the episodes to publish Wednesday morning, early Wednesday morning. And then when I do wake up Wednesday morning, double check that they have been successfully uploaded. Sometimes there's an error and I have to jump on my computer early in the morning to fix that. And then once that's taken care of, go on social media Wednesday morning, start typing up the social media posts, copy and paste the link to the link tree into each social media post, put it on my story, put it on my Snapchat, put it on my Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. And as you might have noticed by now, that takes a lot of time out of my days, out of my week. And it's not that I am not willing to do that, obviously, because I've done it for 28 out of the last 29 weeks. but I feel like we've gotten to the point where I've delivered so many messages of what I wanted to say. I've explained so many topics. I've analyzed different things. I've got input from the audience on Q&As and on top 5 lists, and I've discussed things with guests live on the podcast. And I feel like this has gone further than I ever could have expected, even though this isn't the official end, because we're going to be doing episodes going forward on a more intermittent basis. But I need to scale back. I need to scale back and get some more time in my week. I have things I want to do. I'm going to be starting to join a tennis league here coming up, actually, so that's going to be fun. But I want to get in the gym and work out more. I want to kind of do some more research online, look at stocks, look at programming languages that I might want to get learning and working with, and just kind of use my time in other ways. And I feel like when you look at the time commitments over my week, this is a place where I can afford to scale back a bit. So What's Cooking is a podcast that will be ongoing in the future. I don't plan on this being the official end. I plan on having guests on if they're willing. As the days go on, as the months go on, we'll see how much of a demand and how much of a willingness we have for that. I still have quite a few guests that I considered having on that the planning just didn't work out, and people are in different locations. And as you guys know, I try to do in-person guest podcasts as much as I can. I haven't done any virtual guest podcasts. I think the audio is better that way. I think the interactions are better that way. I think it's more entertaining, more fun to have it live and in person. And so that's how all the guest episodes have been to this point. It doesn't mean I'm going to rule out any possibilities in the future of a virtual one, but that's just my personal preference. That's the way we've done it. So there you go. Hopefully I'm not breaking anybody's heart. Hopefully the diehard What's Cooking listeners will understand that I have other commitments, I have other interests, and I need to get some time back to explore other hobbies and keep improving in life, keep learning, and going on a path of self-improvement, hopefully. As I told you guys earlier, part of the reason I'm in the gym so much nowadays is because I want to start dunking a basketball again, so that's something I'm working on. I've been doing some vertical jump exercises and getting in the gym, working on strength training, working on conditioning a little bit. I dunked a basketball in 2020 during the pandemic because I had nothing to do but go to the gym. That was one of the only things that was open during that time. And so I had a ton of time to go in there and focus on vertical training, and ended up getting a dunk. But I kind of regret stopping so abruptly after I got that dunk, because I kind of lost all the progress I had made after the next couple months went by. But it doesn't mean that I can't get back to that point. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to return to my former vertical abilities. And maybe I can take it even a step further. So that's how my time is going to be allocated going forward, is a little bit less What's Cooking, a little bit more personal development stuff, and just general exploration of new ideas, new concepts, new topics. Who knows, maybe I will give a progress update episode every now and then. But yeah, that's what's on my mind. That's what the situation calls for as I see it. I'm glad that you guys have shown so much support over all the episodes. I know that we get a good amount of listeners every now and then, especially the guest episodes. You guys really do numbers on there. But just even my little single, some of my random niche topics that I go into, they get some engagement. They get some listeners. I'm not necessarily have a high expectation for any of this. I'm not trying to focus on listenership only. and strictly go for numbers. I'm trying to just take some ideas that I have and put them into audio form and just share my thoughts. So that's been the whole plan up to this point, and I'm glad that anybody listening right now has ever stopped by and give this podcast a chance. We will be back eventually. Who knows when that time will be? If you guys stay locked in with the social medias, you will have a good idea of when these episodes will be coming out. Every episode released is another Instagram post on the What's Cooking Instagram, so that's an easy way to keep track of when the last time I posted was. But as far as this episode, I feel like I got my point across, and even though things are going to be different going forward, I'm going to still attach a good old What's Cooking segment onto the end of every episode, because that's the format of this podcast, man. I love doing a topic and then ending it off with some current events. It just gives you a good dynamic there. So thank you guys for tuning in once again. I appreciate all the support that we've had. Started this podcast back in July, late July, and we have uploaded every week except 1 week, making all the way to February. We are going to head over and see what is cooking in each of the 4 categories. What's cooking in sports? This might be one of the most NBA-focused sports segments of What's Cooking that we've ever had. You want to know why? A certain team that I am particularly interested in, called the Dallas Mavericks, traded for a certain player who is always an interesting character. He's a talented basketball player. He's a unique guy, a unique personality, a different thinker. He's an independent variable in life. The Dallas Mavericks have traded for Kyrie Irving. And I believe one of the first episodes of What's Cooking podcast was talking about Kyrie and KD on the Nets and if it's going to work or if they're going to get moved or what. So it kind of comes full circle here. Because Kyrie requested a trade out of Brooklyn last week, and a lot of people were thinking Lakers are definitely a destination there. He's played with LeBron before, and I think the Nets wanted to trade him out of the Eastern Conference so they wouldn't have to play against him in the playoffs, assuming they make it there and Kyrie makes it there. A lot of times that's how it'll go down with these trades with the big players. They want to trade them out of conference. But the Dallas Mavericks were in contention there for a while. Our name was thrown in the ring, and we came out victorious. The Mavs have decided to send away Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, 2 future second-round picks, and 1 future first-round pick. And what we got back was Kyrie Irving and Marcus Morris. Immediately, when I heard about this trade, I thought it was expensive. It was quite the price to pay. Spencer Dinwiddie has been a very solid backup guard to Luka, or sometimes when needed, a complimentary starter to him. He can definitely lead a second group in the NBA very well. Good mid-range, good outside shooter, solid defender from what I've seen. He's just a good two-way player, and he'll show up when you need him to. I think he's even hit a game winner or 2 for the Mavs. So a guy that you can depend on. And then Dorian Finney-Smith, a great 3-and-D player. He can knock down the shot. He can lock up on defense with the best of them. A very underrated piece of the Dallas Mavericks all these years. Dorian has been here a long time, and it's really tough to see him go because, man, has he given his heart and soul to this Mavericks organization. And he was a big piece as to why we made the conference championship last year. And so if we're giving away these 2 guys and picks, we must be getting some valuable assets back. Kyrie Irving. You can say what you want about Kyrie. Sometimes he's injured. Sometimes he's not focused. Sometimes he's controversial. But I think at the end of the day, you're not going to find many players that can do what Kyrie does, that can play to the level that he's capable of playing at. The handles, offensive creativity, the passing and the shooting. And he's averaged like 27, 5, and 5 this year with Kevin Durant as his teammate. So he's not like leading the charge by any means. He's had a superstar teammate beside him and still been super productive. So that's good news when he's going to come over with Luka and have a similar situation. We know what he's done in the past with his stretch with the Cavs. He played with LeBron. They made it to the finals 4 years in a row. I think Kyrie wasn't there that last year, if I remember correctly. He was there for 3 of those, I want to say. But Kyrie is the guy that hit that clutch shot, that three-pointer in Game 7 2016 NBA Finals. He gave a little shimmy and pulled up from 3 and hit it and put the Cavs in front, which ended up solidifying their championship there. So he's proven to be a clutch player when the situation calls for it. He can play alongside superstar players. He's been with LeBron. He's been with KD. And his potential is incredible. And, you know, when we had Dirk all those years, from 98 to 2019, we never really had a surefire, solidified number 2 superstar next to Dirk. We did have Steve Nash for a little bit. But really, other than that, it was Dirk and just some other pieces. And I think Mark Cuban has learned from that, and he wants to be aggressive with Luka going forward. And I think that Luka was in favor of the Kyrie trade going down. I think he was part of the reason why this went through, because he was open to the idea. He was hoping that this would go through, and Mark Cuban agreed and Jason Kidd agreed, and the Mavs went through with it. So Kyrie is a Dallas Maverick. He should take a little bit of the load off of Luka. You know how the Mavs have been so Luka reliant this year and in past years. I think Kyrie should do a good job of lightening the load there. We also have Christian Wood, who's a center and has been very productive when healthy. Should be an exciting big 3 to watch them play together. 2 incredible guards and a center that is very capable. So I'm excited for the potential there. I really hope we stay healthy, because it seems like they've taken turns getting injured. Wood's been out a few games. Luka's been out a few games here and there. But if we could just all get them together at the same time and really see what we have, I'm just so excited to watch. Listen, there's going to be some concerns about defense. You know, we just gave away Dinwiddie and Dorian Finney-Smith, who are 2 excellent wing defenders. At least Dorian definitely is. I think Spencer's a average to above average defender. Kyrie and Luka, not exactly what comes to mind when you think of great defensive players. But if they buy in and we have some of the young guys step up, I think we should be able to get by. We have Josh Green and Jaden Hardy, who just had an incredible game against the Jazz since Luka and Christian... Well, I think actually Christian Wood was playing, but Luka was out. Josh Green and Jaden Hardy both had like 29 points or something like that. They were hooping out there, man. They were balling. They were showing their potential. They were showing their flash. And that really makes me more comfortable bringing in Kyrie and shipping out other guys, because we like what we have coming up. We like the young guns that can develop alongside these guys. The Mavs were in the middle of the pack here in the Western Conference. I think we sit at the 5 seed right now, but it's very tight in the middle. A couple wins, a couple losses could easily put us a few spots up or down. So hopefully we can get these couple guys together and go on a run towards the end of the season. Maybe finish in the top 4 seeds in the West, get some favorable matchups, and go on a run. And the Warriors haven't been their usual dominant selves this year. It's looking like the Nuggets and the Grizzlies are 1 and 2. I think that on any given night, the Mavs can match up with them if we're healthy with this current roster. So it's just a matter of executing, staying healthy, working together, and buying in. And I'm really hopeful for what lies ahead. And hopefully I'll be checking in a future episode with some good news about the Mavs. But we do have another side note here in sports, not very notable. There's this one guy named Tom Brady. Apparently he's retiring. You might have heard of him before. I think that it's for real this time. He is done. And he said that he's going to start being an analyst at Fox in fall of 2024. And my man is posting some questionable images on the internet just days after his retirement. I don't know what he's going through his head to post some of the pictures he's posted, but you do you, Tom. If this is your way of coping with retirement, then you got to get out of your system, I guess. You know, Brady has been one of the most consistent forces in American sports. You know, death taxes and Tom Brady in the playoffs. It seems like every year he's there, no matter the circumstances. My man, what did he get drafted in 2000, I think? So basically he's been in the NFL ever since I've been alive, pretty much. I was born in 1999, so I might have him by a little bit there. But this guy is just inevitable, and he won 7 Super Bowls, and there might be some asterisks next to a few of those, depending on who you ask. There was a few gates along the way, maybe a spy gate here, a deflate gate there. But who knows? Who knows the legitimacy behind those? What it would have made a difference had they not done those. It's impossible to say. You can't mistakenly get 7 Super Bowls, so he's obviously proven himself to be, as it stands right now, in my opinion, the greatest quarterback of all time. Tom, it's been a pleasure to watch you. It's been tough to lose against you in some heartbreaking ways, but best of luck going forward with your new career at Fox, and we'll see what lies ahead. What's cooking in finance? Let's start with some crypto. Today, well, I guess when they say today, it was really a couple days ago when Cameron Winklevoss tweeted this out. He said, "Today, Gemini reached an agreement in principle with Genesis Global Capital LLC, Genesis, and other creditors on a plan that provides a path for EARN users to recover their assets. This agreement was announced in bankruptcy court today. This plan is a critical step forward towards a substantial recovery of assets for all Genesis creditors. In addition, Gemini will be contributing up to $100 million more dollars for EARN users as part of the plan, further demonstrating Gemini's continued commitment to helping EARN users achieve a full recovery." So they're going out of pocket, boys, with $100 million. They're putting down the 100 milli clip out of their pocket. That is impressive. That means that Gemini is committed to helping their EARN users get out of the sticky situation that Genesis put them in. We've been working around the clock since November 16th, 2022 to reach this milestone. We greatly appreciate your support and patience of EARN users during this time. This has allowed us to maximize our efforts on your behalf. I was scared, guys, when I heard this about Gemini. Their lending service having some faulty accounting, supposedly. It kind of smelled like another FTX situation. I guess maybe not to that scale, not to that level of ignorance, but with the current events that we've seen across 2022, you think about Luna, you think about Celsius and Voyager, and I mean, the list goes on and on. I thought they were next for sure, and I had a Coinbase account created recently and ready to go if as a backup plan. Obviously, I'm in cold storage, so it wouldn't have been much of a difference for me, but as far as where I purchased my crypto, that might have changed. Sounds like Gemini is going to be able to dig out of this hole, at least from what I'm seeing here. They've been working around the clock, like they said. They've been contributing money from their own funds to help EARN users recover, something that other platforms haven't done. successfully. So I think that the Winklevi are going to be able to right the ship. It might leave a blemish on the resume at some point, even though they claim it's not their fault. They were involved in it, so it's kind of hard to disassociate yourself with that. But, crypto is going through some growing pains for sure. And I think every breakthrough technology has this kind of phase. We had the dot-com bubble in 2000, and we had the, I guess you can't really associate these, but the iPhone was announced in 2007. The smartphone craze was going on, and then we had the great financial crisis of 2008. I wouldn't really necessarily group those together, but it seems like when we turn the corner in technology, there's some pains that go along with it. So I feel like this is just one of those times, 2022 being the modern day version of some of these technological recessions that we've had. But I think the future is bright. I don't know if the 2020s decade will be quite as outstanding performance-wise in the stock market as the 2010s were, because we timed up the 2010s very well. If you guys didn't know, 2010 was when we were coming out of the 2008 financial crisis, and that was like basically the bottom. And then we went on a impressive run from 2010 all the way through 2020, basically when Corona happened. So like the decade started at a huge bottom and it ended at a huge high. So the 2010s, as far as finance goes and stock market performance, that's going to be hard to replicate. Obviously, the 2020s were started off on the wrong foot with COVID, even though we did have a 2021 rally going on. We quickly were greeted with a year called 2022, in which the S&P fell like 19.5%, something like that. So, it's a rocky road. It's going to be fluctuation, and it's going to be turbulence on the path to financial prosperity. Here I am getting all philosophical. But listen, buy the dip, dollar cost average. Don't get involved with anything that seems too good to be true, and just accumulate assets that are valuable and bring value to others, and have a strong balance sheet. And if you do your own research and stay consistent with it, there's a very little chance that you're going to fail long term. So be consistent, do your research, dollar cost average, and buy the dip, all in a day's work. One more thing for finance we have to mention. Last week, there was one trading day in which Meta was up about 24%. Good heavens. It had been beaten up quite a bit in 2022. Obviously, like all stocks were. And this was a good first step for a recovery for Meta. They really came crashing down with Zuckerberg's metaverse spending. And I think everyone found out that NFTs and metaverse will become a player at some point, but I don't think that day is today. I don't think it's this year. I think it's a little early for that, but we know it's on the horizon. And so you kind of have to reestablish yourself. If you're Meta, you have to get yourself back out there and prove that you can still grow as a company without relying too heavy on the metaverse. There had been a lot of hiring freezes going on and layoffs and stuff. So I don't exactly know what triggered this huge Meta run. It might have come after that announcement of 25 basis point raise in interest rates. But it seems like Meta disproportionately outgained all the other tech stocks. So maybe I'll have to dig in a little deeper there. But people are pointing out the fact, as I often do, that Jim Cramer once upon a time was bullish on Meta in 2022, and then it came crashing down towards the end of the year. There's a clip of Cramer in December 2022 getting real emotional, sort of like being real serious and apologizing for promoting Meta He's like, I trusted the management, and I'm sorry, or something like that. He's like, I was misled, and Meta is not doing good or whatever. And since that point where Kramer got emotional, Meta is up over 100%. And, it's been a common theme on this show to point that out. It's honestly so impressive how consistently he is able to contradict his, well, not his own statements, but like he just has the dark touch of magic where anything he promotes goes down and anything he condemns will rise. So there's more proof in case you didn't have it already. Inverse Jim Cramer to the moon. Here we go. What's cooking in technology? Microsoft is integrating the technology behind the viral chatbot, ChatGPT. They're integrating it into the Bing search engine, hoping that the AI upgrade can help it chip away at Google's dominance of the search market. And honestly, I don't use Bing. I think it was a meme for a while to like get frustrated when Bing would show up instead of Google. I'm more of a Google search person. But listen, lately I've been a ChatGPT person, so kind of contradicting there. Obviously, Google is far and away the leader in internet search browsers. Search engines, let me say. Google dominates that area, and I think that if Microsoft can seamlessly implement ChatGPT into their Bing search engine, that could honestly make them more attractive and start chipping away, like the article was saying, at Google's dominance. The breakout success of the bot from the Microsoft-backed OpenAI has put the software giant at the forefront of what some see as the next wave of technological innovation: generative artificial intelligence. In an event Tuesday to launch the technology, Microsoft said the Bing upgrade will enable a new kind of search in which people will pose questions to the search engine in a natural language, and it will generate direct answers and suggestions. Earlier this week, Google announced it is rolling out its own conversational artificial intelligence service to a set of testers and plans a broader public launch in the coming weeks. So, listen to this. Microsoft is saying, oh yeah, we got ChatGPT and Bing, baby. Let's roll. We're going to start chipping away. Your move, Google. Google says, you know what? Listen to this, boys. We got this new thing coming out. The new experimental service is called Bard, B-A-R-D. I don't know about the name choice there. I don't know if that stands for something or if they just decided to call it Bard. That's an interesting one. Well, Bard is going to generate responses to questions posed by users based on information drawn from the web. Sundar Pichai is the chief executive of Google parent Alphabet. He was telling people that in the blog post published Monday. So we're gonna have a little arms race here, yeah. Well, I got one of these things. What do you got? Oh yeah, we're gonna make something. All right, just you wait. It's a race to the top in generative artificial intelligence. Microsoft has started the race out hot. ChatGPT is in the lead. Who is gonna be up next? We don't know. Is it Bard? Is Bard gonna make a historic run to the top? I don't know, guys. I think ChatGPT right now is the go-to for this technology. I've been using it to learn Python recently, and let me tell you, if I had ChatGPT in college, let me just say my grades might have been a little bit better. But we're going to leave that aside, because I'll be able to tell people someday that I did school the old-fashioned way. I had to go search things on Google back in my day. We didn't have this ChatGPT nonsense, all right? I had it pretty tough, all right? Oh, man. It's crazy how tech evolves, and you find yourself on the other end of it rather quickly if you don't keep up. What's cooking in video games? Don't throw away that Wii Fit balance board. When I saw that headline, I immediately clicked on this article because I'm a huge Wii Fit guy. Don't throw away that Wii Fit balance board. It might be more valuable than you think. New research from a team at Northeastern University found that active video games like Wii Fit and Dance Dance Revolution are more effective for improving balance than conventional forms of physical therapy. Led by Amy Liu, Associate Professor of Communication Studies at Northeastern, the team of researchers conducted a comprehensive review and meta-analysis of thousands of studies focused on active video games. After narrowing their focus to a few hundred, they grouped the studies into different categories based on what they were measuring, from physical fitness to cognitive outcomes. The research on balance is just one of a series of papers the team has written based on their work. Personally speaking, I don't think video games themselves can replace outdoor physical activities like soccer or basketball, Liu says. It's a good alternative, however. In this research, we have basically found that compared to those conventional treatments, active games actually work better. Dagmar Sternad, a university distinguished professor of biology at Northeastern, who Liu recruited based on her expertise in balance, says that even looking conservatively, the findings indicate that this automated and supposedly more motivating and fun way of play and practice is at least as good as conventional training. The findings are significant, especially in a field that can have life-saving implications. Sternad says that postural balance and falling are, even in healthy people, some of the main risk factors that lead to immobility and then eventually mortality. I'm all for these fitness video games. You know, I don't know if you guys remember, but did I tell this story? I don't know if I did. Freshman year of college, I started getting back into the Wii Fit game. So this was second semester, freshman year of college. I, for whatever reason, was very much attached to Wii Fit, and I was very interested in taking my daily body test. So Wii Fit puts you through a few activities, takes your weight, and does a few other measurements, and they'll give you a body test, and you can like put a little stamp on the calendar, track your progress, and call it a day. I went on a 77-day streak freshman year of college doing my daily Wii Fit body test. 77 days in a row. And yes, that's right. I mentioned this in the Jacob C. Body episode because Jacob was involved in the day that I forgot to do the streak. Sorry, Jacob, to throw you under the bus like that. It wasn't your fault. It was mine. But anyways, I've also played Dance Dance Revolution. In elementary school, we used to have a gym unit which revolved around Dance Dance Revolution. Very fun. Gets the feet moving, get some music going, and you're out there having a good time. So I think that for people who are too intimidated by some of the more involved activities of balance training and physical therapy, at least at worst case scenario, these video games can be just an on-ramp into the recovery process and into the physical therapy process that you have going. But listen, video games have a way of making the content engaging and fun and interactive, and I think that we need to use them for beneficial purposes, and I feel like this is one of those. Especially the research indicates that this is a positive form of physical therapy. So listen, we have to, I keep saying listen today. Obviously you're listening. We have to support this. So good stuff from the researchers out there in the video game world. Good stuff from What's Cooking today. And good stuff in general on the What's Cooking podcast. Today marks the end of an era in which I did weekly episodes, but this is not a goodbye. This is a see you later. We will be back. I don't know when, and I don't know for what reason, but the What's Cooking podcast will be embarking on a new schedule. in which I have a little more flexibility in my day-to-day life. And I think the content I provide to you will be even more riveting and even more important, because when you decrease the supply, it increases the value. And that's just a great way to introduce you to the concept of Bitcoin. Bitcoin has a limited supply of 21 million, and by keeping the supply low, we can increase the value because scarcity. And I'm a big Bitcoin guy, and I think that that's the reason I'm modeling my podcast after the Bitcoin model of scarcity going forward. That was not planned at all. That was just a little tangent I decided to throw in because I like Bitcoin so much. Scarcity drives up the value, and so What's Cooking podcast is going to have even more value going forward. Thank you guys for listening. I appreciate you putting up with my crazy podcasts and ideas and ramblings over the weeks and the months that I've done this. We will be back. I don't know when, but I shall be back. Thank you for listening. Have a good one. Peace.